Hey everybody, welcome back. Week 11 of the NFL is about to kick off. Poker Guy, how you doing out there in Florida?
I'm good, man. Just ate a sugar cookie, so I'm all jacked up on sugar. So let's get it rocking. Let's get it rolling.
Let's get rocking and rolling. I hear the waves are kicking these days.
They are good. We got a little cold front coming in. So this morning, woke up at the ass crack of dawn, hopped in the water. Water's warm, air's chilly, but goddamn, the waves have been killer. So I won't get into that. But yeah, I've been in a great mood. Just a little tired, but again, just snorted some sugar, so I'm ready to rock.
Ready to rock. I'll tell you where else things are kicking. That's on Twitter. All right. We got into this on our last episode. We're going to keep the updates coming on this Zach Smith situation. Now, the big update since our last meeting together, for those of you who are new to us or joining us, Zach Smith, of course, is a disgraced former wide receiver coach from Ohio State University. And he has been going off on Twitter. So he had a good couple days. And then Brett McMurphy, at Brett McMurphy on Twitter, for all you want to get at him, he came out with a new story. And that story said that, all right, not only is Zach Smith a woman beater, not only is he an alcoholic, not only does he love to go to strip clubs, within that, Brett McMurphy did also throw Tom Herman in there as being a lover of a good titty bar. Not James Harden level, doesn't have the plaque, doesn't have the scholarship, but loves himself a good titty bar. But anyhow, Brett McMurphy comes out and he says the crux of the story, there's a kid named Trevon Grimes. Trevon, I don't know. He plays for the Florida Gators now. He plays for your Florida Gators. So he's not that great, but he's a former wide receiver at Ohio State University. And the story, as Brett McMurphy tells it, is Brett McMurphy says that Zach Smith and Trevon got into an altercation on the practice field. And that's been backed up by basically every source that there was an altercation. But where things kind of diverge, depending on which parties you're talking to, did Coach Smith call him the N-word during said altercation, which a lot of things you can be labeled these days. You know, you can get away kind of like you. I'd say you're a little bit transphobic over there, you cisgendered clown.
I am. I'm a little transphobic, but,
But hey, you're trying to catch up. You're trying to make yourself a better person, all right? That's okay.
I'm going to tell you something. I hate everybody equally, but go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, but you don't want to be labeled a racist, particularly when you're a bald-headed white guy who's responsible for trying to recruit a lot of African-American kids to play for your football team. Like, you don't want to get that label on you. And Brett McMurphy has tried to place that label on Zach Smith. Now, there are a couple little twists to this story that are kind of interesting. Now, one of Brett McMurphy's biggest sources is Trayvon's dad, whose name's LeBron, believe it or not. So his name's LeBron, not our LeBron, who, by the way, went off for 44, 10, and 9 last night against the Trailblazers, beating them 2 out of 3 times. So LeBron's getting into action. But this other LeBron Grimes, he came out and he backed up. He's basically the source for this story. He says, hey, my kid told me this. This is why he left. It's why he transferred. But basically everybody who still plays for Ohio State, whoever played for them, they're all saying it's bullshit. They're like, hey, man, if this would have happened, we all would have walked off the field, and when we'd have given this guy the finger and never went and played for him again.
Exactly. It's kind of like a very ill-timed, almost strategically timed, very suspicious.
And it's tough to say where the grudge between Brett McMurphy lays. I know Dick Vitale and Mark Schlabach hate Sean Miller for whatever reason. Like I said, maybe he took one of their mothers out for a nice seafood dinner and never called them back. It's the only thing I could think of. But anyhow, Brett McMurphy's got a bone to pick with these guys, to the point where he's putting out very poorly sourced stories. Now, the twist here comes with Trevon Grimes' mother. All right. So when you leave a school, you've got to sit out for a year unless you can prove some sort of family hardship. All right. And as part of this story, Trevon Grimes applies for a waiver because his mother has stage 4 ovarian cancer. Now,
Okay.
I'm not a doctor. I don't know much about medicine. But after Googling this and then from what Brett McMurphy says in his story, stage 4 cancer of any kind, it's not a good thing. So you're not just kind of, going to the Y, swimming a few laps, feeling better, and then heading back to work when you've got that. People with stage 4 ovarian cancer, according to his article,
It's over, right?
have a 5% 5-year survival rate. So 1 in 20. Is she alive? So she's still alive. She's one of the lucky ones. Okay. Or is she? All right. Because
I got you.
There's some speculation. I'm just asking the questions. I don't have any of the answers. But did she actually have that disease? Or does she actually? This is so crazy.
What came first, like the chicken or the egg? Did Zach Smith maybe hear that this story was coming out and then decided to go on an alcoholic tirade on Twitter? Or is this like the reaction to Zach Smith's insane tirade, and then Brett McMurphy comes out with this article conveniently timed? You know what I mean? Like, this is all, fun and games, and this is almost like smokes and mirrors, almost strategic, in a sense.
I think it's more that first one, right? I think, when we were sitting around last week saying, you were like, why now? Yeah, like, why now does Zach Smith go on the offensive? Why is he trying to get at Tom Herman? Which, by the way, I called Tom Herman Todd Herman about 10 times while I was reading those fucking tweets. So sorry about that, Tom. I didn't mean to call you Todd while I was disparaging you via Zach Smith's tweets. That was disrespectful of me. I will always call you Tom Herman.
You did that shit on purpose, calling somebody like the wrong name. Like if your name's like Robert, calling somebody like Bob or Robbie, but just like very sleight of hand. That's a very bold, strategic move. And I think you did that on purpose.
So, I mean, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't think that I did, but maybe somewhere deep down in my brain, I may have. But you gotta start questioning whether or not, Trevon Grimes' mom actually had this disease. Because that was one of the things, they put that on the waiver so he could, if she's got that sort of disease, all of a sudden he doesn't have to sit out for a year and he can play football whenever he wants to. I don't know. I'm not saying she does have it or doesn't have it, but if she defeated it that easily, I think we need to do some studies on her to figure out, is there some sort of, like that movie Outbreak? Can we pull something out of her to eradicate this disease from her blood? Hey, we got somebody here who's got some unique genetics where we can go ahead and save a bunch of women's lives. That'd be generous of her. But her integrity is a little bit in question because apparently one of the other things that he reported is his mother's a nurse and she was caring for an elderly couple, one which had dementia, one which had Parkinson's. And what she did is she stole their credit cards, stole their bank account information, spent a bunch of money at a tanning salon, spent a bunch of money buying clothes for herself, paid off about $3,000 in collections that, to collections agencies that were coming after her. And all the family could prove was that she stole about 10 grand. But so she's caring for these people as a nurse. So she's a licensed nurse doing this. And she's robbing these old people fucking blind as they're losing their minds. Right? God. I mean, that's a sweet lady right there. So there's no way a sweet lady like that would ever lie about having cancer. She's pulling like a Charlie's mom from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, except she's a way gnarlier personality. And eventually what comes out is, she's actually, or I would say was a nurse in Florida. And then this article came out and she has since been let go by her employer.
So it's true. Most of the stuff, her being caught doing fraud and all that stuff, that's all true. That's not hearsay. That's true.
That's 100% true. That has been prosecuted, and she has lost her license before. But
okay. and then Zach Smith going on a racial tirade, that's still kind of up in the air though. That's not necessarily proven.
That is widely disputed by everybody. Nobody
Okay.
but Brett McMurphy and this guy's dad has given any reason for anybody to believe that that would be true.
So we got ourselves a fake news alert over here.
We got a fake news
Fake
alert. We got a
mm,
fake news alert, but I will say this, that fake news, in my opinion, did save probably some people in Florida from getting some very bad nursing care. Because I guarantee that that lady was lying on her resume. It's like, hey, have you ever defrauded any of your patients for thousands and thousands of dollars while they were losing their mind and dying? No. Okay, yeah, you see how you circled no on this? I was actually yes, you should have checked in that box.
Yeah. Oh no, I was only charged. I actually haven't gotten, I haven't actually gotten penalized for anything. I'm only charged for this, but I haven't been found guilty or anything. So I put no on the resume.
Yeah, I mean, and that's an indictment of probably their hiring process. I mean, you would think you'd do a little bit better background check. There's like, have you ever had your nursing license revoked for felonious activity? You see how you marked no on this one here? You see, that was another yes. So we're going to have to let you go at this point. And there are actually some
And on
people
top of
on
everything, I don't
Twitter.
think you can read because you can't bubble in these things properly. You can't read. So, on that fact alone, we can't have you working at a nurse's station giving patients the wrong medication. So, yeah, that might be a problem.
Are probably not even giving him the medication. Here's your Oxycontin, Mr. Man, with terminal cancer. Or maybe she needs it because she's got terminal cancer too, right? Oh,
That's
maybe
true.
she
That's
doesn't.
true. That's true.
Well, we'll see. I mean, she's got her own stage 4 problems that she's dealing with. I'd
So you're
love to.
accusing her of giving this man Mentos and then her pocketing the OxyContin, is what you're saying.
Exactly, sir. Don't drink
Got
any Coca Cola with this. Like, do not take this with Coca Cola. You're going to have some problems. No Pop Rocks and no Coca Cola with this, because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you this 81 milligram aspirin, and I'm going to put this 10 milligrams of oxycodone right in my pocket. And then I'm going to go ahead and sell that to somebody. I'm going to crush half of it up, and then I'm going to give the rest to Jim Irsay.
I'm gonna crush half of it. I'm gonna snort it. I'm gonna call Jib. We're gonna have a party at the house later. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, me and Jim are partying tonight. Sorry, Mr. Slingawith, but he's gonna go ahead and have to writhe in pain, buddy, because I'm taking
Stop
these with
pressing
me.
stop pressing the pain button. Okay, I'm not listening. I'm not even here. Okay, I work the night shift for a reason, sweetheart. I'm gonna go hang out with Jim for a bit. All right, you just sit tight.
There's
Don't
fewer
go
people
dying on me.
around. Fewer
Don't go
people
dying
around
on
to
me.
see me throwing this in my pocket. All right. Hey, Trayvon's mom, why are you jingling on the way down the hallway? What is that noise? Sounds like a bunch of Tic Tacs in your pocket. What's going on here?
Is your nose bleeding again? Why is it bleeding, ma'am? See ya. Okay, bye. We'll see you in a couple hours. See ya.
Found Mrs. Grimes, hanging out in the fucking janitor's closet, falling asleep again. Come on, get back to it. We need you back on the floor here. Actually, you know what? Everyone's probably better off if you're not on the floor. So
You
that's
know
a
what? Just go
shame.
pass out, face down. Just stay in the janitorial closet and sober up. Okay, you got another 3 hours left to work. All right. When you're done, Uber home. Call an Uber.
Yeah, just don't fucking drive out of here, okay? Just don't drive out of here. Go ahead and just hop in that dark windowed Suburban that's cruising down the road. Good luck, though. Good luck. We may or may not ever see you again.
That tint is not legal, but you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
It's like, once again, we have no evidence to suggest that, other than good sense, to suggest that Jim Irsay may be a murderer. We have no actual hard evidence. We don't want to report that. We're not reporting that. We're joking about that. We're not Brett McMurphy, okay? We're not just reporting shit that we're making up, like Mark
Who's the guy that
Schlabach.
you hate? Marsh?
Mark Schlabach. I fucking hate that guy. Until I hear Sean Miller's voice on those tapes, he can fucking suck a big one. Like, in April, if I hear that, I'll eat my words. Like every other Wildcat fan out there, I'll eat my words. But until I do, fuck you. Like, I get it. Everybody's dirty. Quit singling us out with fake bullshit. So, moving on from that, other big news of the week. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? KD and Draymond Green got into a bit of a scrap. Hey, who would have guessed that Draymond Green would be getting into it with somebody?
So break it down for me. From what I understand, Draymond, it's the end of the quarter, I guess, end of the game, fourth quarter, like 2 seconds left. Clippers, Golden State. Clippers miss a shot, rebounds. It's about to go into overtime. The play is give the guy who has really good shooting percentage the ball, right? I guess that's just what it is. Doesn't matter who it is. The guy who's shooting the best that night is going to get that ball, or the guy who historically is good to take the final shot is going to take that shot. Draymond just runs through, falls down, turns it over, and the game is over. They ended up losing the game. So KD has a discussion with Draymond in the huddle, and Draymond, from what I understand, calls him a bitch. And then KD doesn't like that. There's a little bit of a scuffle. And from what I understand, it wasn't even a big deal. But then Draymond gets fined, and he gets suspended for a game without pay. And on top of that, he gets fined. Pretty wild, if you ask me. What's that statement say? What does that say from the Golden State management? Does that say they're Team Draymond or Team KD? Because they didn't punish KD.
No, they didn't punish KD. And, you're accurate there. So, Draymond got the rebound, and then he was cruising down there like that one guy in the YMCA league who's just, they call him chuckers, right? Where it's just like, that dude's a chucker. Like, don't let him get the ball or it's going up. He is like one guy.
Along Came Pauly. It's the guy from Along Came Pauly, which is Friedman. And he throws the ball up. And, I don't know what he says, but he throws the ball up, and it's a brick every time.
Yeah, you're much more familiar with, was that Ben Stiller and Jennifer Aniston in that movie?
Yeah, Ben Stiller, Jennifer Aniston, and the guy who died, who was also in that movie Red Dragon. He gets burnt to a toast.
What guy died?
Movie.
I don't know.
There's a guy who had a heroin overdose. He's a white dude. I'll look him up while you talk.
I don't know. R.I.P. dead white guy from heroin overdose. But yeah, so he did one of those things. He did a full on dude from YMCA cruise the court, lose the game, and what that whole thing says to me is the same thing it says to everybody else, that Golden State's going to do whatever they can to hang on to KD, and that they value him over Draymond Green, which
big surprise.
Yeah, who would have guessed if you had KD or Draymond Green? I get it. Draymond he's the emotional leader, and he's this and he's that, but KD's 7 feet tall and he can shoot threes, and he's one of the best scorers in the history of the NBA.
In his prime. In his fucking prime too.
I'm going to go on that route as well. I did see one clickbait article. I didn't click on it, but it was one of those, put your tinfoil hat on here, conspiracy theories that KD's heading to LA along with Anthony Davis. So they're going to be LeBron, KD, and Anthony Davis.
If that happens, will the NBA at that point officially be unwatchable? Because at that point it will, for the most part, it sounds like, be unwatchable.
No, I would love to watch that shit. Like, I would love to see that.
Just stomping on the Suns, like beginning of the season, all three of them just crushing like Derek Booker.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Zion next year. We're all loving Zion. I don't know if you've been watching him, but he had that dunk this week where his eyeballs were above the rim. Yeah. And, unless he goes on the Shaq Barkley diet plan, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
So, it's going to be a race to the bottom this year. So we're going to see exactly who wants him, who really, really wants him. I'm expecting the Suns to tank it up this year, and hopefully they'll be able to get Zion. We'll see, though.
They're going to be calling it trying for Zion is what people are calling it. How there's always sucking for Sam, like Sam Darnold, or I don't know, whatever else these tanking terms are. That's what they're calling
in for Jameis when people were trying to get Jameis Winston.
Yeah, big mistake there. How that worked out Tampa Bay. But so the other thing, we put some people on Noodle Arm watch earlier. We're going to talk a little bit about Tom Brady. Max Kellerman put him on Noodle Arm watch. But the other thing, have you seen this? Have you heard about this? The Pittsburgh Steelers. So Le'Veon Bell is officially no longer a Pittsburgh Steeler. All right, they could go ahead. They could transition tag him. They could do some weird shit. But he is not going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler anymore. And it was almost a scene of pure delight as he did not report to Steelers camp or to Steelers, locker room. I guess it's not training camp time. But when he didn't report, all of his buddies, I guess they're not his buddies like we were talking about. You're going to find out when you're passed out drunk in your frat house if you have any real friends. And apparently Le'Veon Bell, he doesn't have any real friends on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, because he's screwing them all over. Can you blame him?
I don't blame him at all. I'm on their side. I mean, I don't have anything against Le'Veon Bell. He didn't do anything wrong, right? He didn't do an Earl Thomas. Like, I was not on Earl Thomas's side. He had an outstanding contract with the Seahawks. He had to honor that. Le'Veon Bell didn't have a contract with anybody. He can do whatever he wants to do, right? He's doing what he thinks is best for him, and I'm going to respect that. But they feel like he fucked him over for sure. And early in the season when they were struggling, there were a couple people that straight up said, "This dude is fucking us over."
Yeah. Well, I'm glad like the Steelers have kind of found a foothold, and it looks like they might take the AFC North. So they really don't need Le'Veon Bell. But you were telling me earlier before we started recording that there's a video out of something funny happening in the locker room. You're telling me something crazy went down.
Yeah, Bud Dupree, who's it's a second or third year linebacker for the Steelers. He went in and, all these guys get a bunch of free swag from the NFL or from whoever. And he had a bunch of cleats and all this other stuff that, are worth a couple bucks. They're not technically his. It's not like he left them in there, but they were meant for him. And Bud went in there. This old term in the Marine Corps, it's called rat fucking, right? So whenever there's like a common collective of goods, it's always going to get picked through, right? It's kind of like showing up on Black Friday at, in Walmart at the end of the day. All the good shit's gone, man. Like, it's been rat fucked. That's the term. Like, when there's only the scraps left that not even the rats would want to take with them, something's been rat fucked. Now, as far as that goes, I have a good story about so that's a common Marine Corps term, right? So one of the things that would happen is our base was the last base along a supply chain, and they would often ship out like pallets of soda for people to enjoy. And wouldn't you know it, we ended up with a lot, and they would ship out everything. I don't know what it was. It must have been Diet Coke. It must have had a contract with Coke, because we got a little bit of Orange Crush, a little bit of Coca-Cola, but we get a disproportionate amount of Diet Coke at our base. Like a fucking crazy amount of Diet Coke. It's like we had 10 pallets of Diet Coke for every, one we would have of something else. Like, it was fucking crazy, because everything just got rat fucked right along the supply chain. Or if you walk up onto a box of MREs and there's only one or two of them left in there, there's a couple of them that are universally despised. One of them's, the egg, was it egg, cheese, and omelet, whatever the fuck or veggie omelet, whatever the hell it is. It's horrifying. And then there's a meatloaf and gravy one, which I guess if you're on the edge of dying, you would consider eating. But under normal circumstances, you're going to treat that like a Subway sandwich, and you're going to pass on that thing.
What's an MRE? MRE is the food that they would give you guys, right?
Yeah, it's a meal. It's a meal ready. It's called meal ready to eat. And it's just a giant brown bag full of highly processed and preserved food that you can ship. And they're actually, what's crazy about it is I wouldn't eat one of those things I don't know. If I had one of those sitting next to a Subway sandwich, I would eat the MRE. For sure, I would do that. But other than that, I would not want to eat one of those at this point. I've had enough in my life. I don't need any more of that. But they're actually they're big with campers because they're high in calories and they're kind of densely packed. And, people that go like backpacking, like people that have never been in the military and like to go backpacking, I don't know. I understand people that go camping. I don't get that. That's not for me. I've done enough of that in my lifetime as well. But they're actually fans of those things. So they're actually $10 a piece if you're going to buy them, on the open market. All right, so I think they're like 6,000 or 7,000 calories when you kind of add it all up. But
I guess it's good, like if you're, if you have a backpack and you don't have a lot of room for stuff. I guess it makes sense from like a military perspective. It makes it very efficient,
Yeah, so they're, they do their purpose. They also are going to back your ass up, man. Like you're going to not shit for a few days and then you're going to take like a really big shit.
Is there any fiber in there, or is it just like a very low fiber diet?
I don't know what the fiber content is, but there's no water in anything either. It's all like, it's not dehydrated food like you're an astronaut or some shit, but it's highly preserved. And for whatever reason, it just takes a while to work itself through your system. So you want to drink some of that shit that was that Joe Rogan's always drinking that MCT oil, and he's like, man, if I put too much of that in my shake, he's like, I'm on the fucking toilet for I gotta get on the toilet in 2 hours because that thing just greases me up. But
Oh yeah.
one of the most extreme examples of rat fucking I ever saw was at the end of our first deployment. We were in a phase where we were trying to like pull back out of certain battle positions, like turn stuff over to the Iraqis and let them take control of areas. And we were just going to kind of sit back and watch. This is like 2007 or 2008, somewhere in there. And we're trying to, give them a little bit of space to do their own thing, but still support them and not let shit get out of control. So when we left, we actually turned over one of our bases like back to the city. All right. So we turned it back over to them, and we took all the good shit out of there, and then we kind of hung around for a little while. But at a certain point, we were like, all right, everybody, we're gone. Whatever you guys want, you can come get it, right? To like the local population. Now, one of the things, so we talked a little bit, we can't seem to get through 10 minutes of this podcast without a poop or pee story. So here we go. People are expecting it at this point. Now, one of the things that you do when you're over there, so there's different ways that you poop. We've been through that. You poop in barrels or you poop in little plastic bags and then, throw them all in a pile and soak them in diesel fuel and burn them up, send them straight up in the sky for everyone's noses and lungs to enjoy later on. Or you put them in this barrel. You get like a giant almost gallows where people hang from, and you just like shit down into barrels. And then you fill those barrels with diesel fuel, stir it around. You do not want to be on that duty. That's a horrifying thing to endure. But, the horrors of war. But the other thing that you do, you got to pee somewhere. And we had these things, we call them piss tubes. And all they are is big diameter, probably like 6 inches in diameter PVC piping that you put a little net over, and then you dig a giant hole into the ground and you put these tubes in there, and then everybody pees into them until eventually the piss starts to fucking soak its way up out of the ground. And then you're like, time to move these to a new spot. And then you dig a new hole, you throw some more tubes in there, and then you kind of go on from there. So you're urinating, hundreds of people, like 100 to 150 people were urinating in these things for, months on end. So these are literally plastic tubes that are soaked in urine. And when we left, like, it was fucking insane. Like, I was one of the final, like, security parties, like, looking over this when we were like, all right, everybody come on in. It was like watching a bunch of piranha eat one of those baby birds that fall out of the tree during the rainy season when they get trapped in one of those pools. And they can't get back in the main river and they're all starving. And it's like, oh my God, and whatever I can get to, I'm going to eat the shit out of it. Because these Iraqis swept in there and they went after that base like those piranhas go after baby birds. And in a matter of hours, anything that could be taken from there was taken, and just that whole base got rat fucked to the point where we were actually looking at and we're like, dude, are those guys fucking taking the piss tubes? And sure enough, there were people pulling these PVC pipes basically filled with piss out of the ground. I don't know what the hell they were going to do with them, but they weren't going to let a prize like that go unclaimed. So we see these dudes just walk in there and they're taking plastic tubes full of piss out of the ground because that has some sort of value to them. It was crazy.
Dude, that's fucking disgusting. That is fucking gross.
It's very gross.
Holy
I don't know,
shit.
I mean, I would hate to be the guy who's like getting those things put in his house as part of his plumbing.
Yeah.
We're going to make this your water supply, bro. We're going to go ahead and hook you up good here. We're going to give you the discount too. We're going to give you 25% off because they're slightly used.
It's funny. There's like one guy out there who's like was gifted like a cylindrical tube And he's like, yeah, you walk into his house and he's got like his mantle and he's got one of those tubes on his mantle. And he's like, yeah, this was a gift from one of my cousins. It's very, I'm going to pass it down generation to generation down the road. But it's really just a piss tube. It's like a piece of PVC, you know,
making like
sitting on his mantle.
making like a potato gun out of it. It's like, and then everybody hits the potato, gets gangrene, and everyone wonders why.
It's like a flower pot. Oh, I brought my wife a Valentine's Day present. It's in this wonderful, beautiful flower pot where the flowers keep dying, and my wife keeps getting sick. I don't know what's going on. Doesn't
Yeah,
make any
using the
sense.
same using the same nutrient method that we were using in the backyard of our frat house. Yeah, I'll tell you this: a steady stream of urine is not the way to nourish plants. I've got the field studies to prove that is not the way to do it.
So what'd you guys do? You guys just watch these guys just completely dismantle this base, and then you guys just dipped. You
Yeah,
guys
and then
left
we
like I
just
guess
we
like a
just cruised
shell
out
of
of
a
there.
building.
Yeah, we just cruised out of there. We're like, holy shit, look at these guys go! Like they were working hard. Like there was like 100 people that were rat fucking that base that were doing a quicker, better, more aggressive job than I think 2,000 Marines. If you would have got 2,000 Marines
Yeah,
out there
yeah.
and told us to do the same thing, it would have taken us at least 5 times as long as it took those people to do it. Like they cut down all the razor wire, like anything that was metal, like they cut that down. Like they just feasted on that thing. I don't know where all that was going, but I mean, it disappeared like you wouldn't believe.
Damn, dude. Somebody's got a pawn shop out there that is stacked with goodies. There's probably a really killer pawn shop out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I never saw one. There's not a really killer anything out there except for terrorists. Um, but
And sand. From what I understand, there's a lot of sand out there.
a good amount of sand. We were actually right along the Euphrates River, so we had, you know, it was we had both levels in Call of Duty. You know, we had the desert level and then we had the jungle level. So we got to play both levels while we were, fighting that war. And talk a little bit about Call of Duty. So like I said, I've been enjoying a little Call of Duty lately. It hasn't been going great for me. Just to update everybody, my KD's at 0.76 right now. So hey, I've been doing a little bit of work. Do a little bit of work. I'm that noob you've been stomping. I'm that noob you all been stomping as you're having a great time. But Battlefield 5's coming out. So time to mount back up for PokerGuy and get back in the little bird.
Well, I'm kind of disappointed, man. This new game is just like a World War II kind of thing. So the vehicles, there's no vehicles. There's no little bird for me to feast. So it's kind of like it's almost, here's the problem with Battlefield, man. This is really what it comes down to, is Battlefield is not trying to be Battlefield. They're trying to be Call of Duty. But nobody's going to be better at being Call of Duty than Call of Duty. So I don't understand why all these people are trying to out Call of Duty, Call of Duty. Just be yourself. You know what I mean? If you suck, you're gonna suck. If you suck, you're gonna suck as Battlefield. But you're sucking as a copy of Call of Duty. So it just kind of ruins my gaming experience when I want to pop in a new game, and then I get something totally different. Or I'm sorry, I get something that I want to be totally different, and it's the same shit I've been playing for the last 8 years. Give me a fucking break. And as far as you're concerned, Bobby, is all you need to do is last until the Christmas time. Because once those Christmas noobs come out, dude, woo, you're gonna be feasting, brother. You're gonna have a killer time.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the boot. I'm gonna be the boot when I mean, not the boot like I would call him boot, but when it comes to getting stomped on instead of the face on the concrete, I'm gonna be the boot doing the stomping. That's for sure. I'll tell you,
Going back to your KD, I mean, don't worry about your point 0.7 KD. I mean, your real life KD is
it's infinity.
perfect. Yeah, it's
It's
infinite.
infinity right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. That's the
So
only one you really need to worry about. But yeah, your digital KD, it needs some work for sure. But with time, with practice, you'll get there. I wouldn't be too concerned about it.
it's not keeping me up at night. That's for sure. But a couple last things to talk about before we get going on these games. So if you haven't seen this guy, anybody listening to this podcast, what you need to do is pause the podcast, get on Google, and type in "dude with giant neck arrested," all right, or "dude with giant neck mugshot." So this just came out a day or two ago, and if
Wait,
you've
I want
not
to
seen
Google
this,
it. I want to Google this.
you've got to Google it right now. because there's a guy who was arrested in Florida. Of course, it's Florida. It's always Florida. You live in one giant retention pond where people cannot get their minds straight. And this guy, if you haven't seen him, he has not skipped shoulder day in quite some time. Like it's like that old what was that? Is it Black Sheep or I think it's Tommy Boy. I get those two mixed up here and there. But like in Tommy Boy, when Chris Farley pretends to be the steward or flight attendant or stewardess. I don't want to be flight attendant phobic. I want to use the correct term here. But when he takes over the plane and he's like, hey, so what are we serving today? Chicken or chicken? All right. It's like this guy going to the weight room. He's like, so what are we doing today? Shoulders or shoulders? Like, what are we doing? Shrugs or shrugs? But so he's got a big neck. All right. So I'm going to read some comments here that people left on the internet. We're the comment section. So we like to get into the average person's comments on all this sort of stuff. And
we're going to really get into the comment section of these things because the comment section is firing right now. This is too funny.
So I'm reading these off of E-Bomb's World. And, top couple comments they got on here. There's one guy's like, they threw the book at him. He swallowed it. All right. So that was okay. Just getting warmed up there. And then, one guy's like, yo, man, don't be bagging on this guy. He's got a lot of weight on his shoulders right now. The one guy says,
I think this is the fifth Ninja Turtle, Michelangelo.
I bet if you cut off his head, you could count the rings to determine his age.
That boy can drink peanut butter.
That boy can drink peanut butter. Oh, man. So get on that. Go on these websites. Check a few of these out. One guy's like, police sketch artist. Okay, what do you look like? Witness. Neck. Sketch artist. We got him, boys. Let's roll.
Better luck next time.
Yeah. One guy's like, I'm tired of all the negativity here. It's like, that's how you look after swallowing Popeye's biscuits with no drink. Strong ass neck. Which, by the way, Popeye's, is it Popeye? Yeah, Popeye's best fast food chicken out there. By
the
far.
Shoulder bone connected to the neck bone. That's a good one too.
But yeah, he was probably arrested for necrophilia. So there's a lot of good stuff out there. Look that up.
I do not like that one. That one is
it's a double entendre. You'd be fucking corpses with this giant neck. So let's go ahead.
Put him in jail, and they're gonna throw away the key.
So let's go ahead. Let's get into these games this week. We got the Thursday night game going on right now as we're recording this. Packers are up just before halftime, 21-17. A lot of speculation out there that if Mike McCarthy doesn't pull this off, he may end up ultimately getting fired. We'll see how that goes, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know
why that's speculation. I feel like that's been going on for the last 2-3 years. So the Packers have been fantastically mediocre, and everybody really says the same thing, is that they're wasting a prime Aaron Rodgers. So they need to get their shit together and really figure this out, because 4-1, it's very a lot of underachievement going on in Green Bay.
A lot of underachievement going on. And you got to ask yourself, is Rodgers getting a pass for some of this stuff? I mean, he's got 214 yards, 2 touchdowns before half, so he's doing something right. But
Seahawks at 7. Right now it's tied 21-17 Packers going into the second quarter, so it's still a close game. So if you bet the over, I think you'll do just fine.
Yeah, if you're on the over there, you're feeling good about that. Let's go ahead and work our way into the schedule. Cowboys are at the Falcons. Over-under is 48.5. Falcons are minus 3.5. They're 3.5-point favorites at home. I have jumped off the Falcons bandwagon. I'm gonna jump back on it right here, though.
Just for this week.
I'm gonna jump back on it right now. I'm gonna block that Cleveland Browns loss out of my mind. I'm gonna pretend that didn't happen. I'm gonna believe in Matty Ryan at home in that dome. It's mostly an indictment of the Cowboys. I just can't believe in the Cowboys. That was one of the worst losses of the week for me on the gambling front last week. Eagles coming off a bye, shitting their pants at home, letting the Cowboys get on top of them, letting Skip Bayless have a good night. And I can't think that would happen 2 weeks in a row. So I'm going to go.
That just goes back to the Eagles being shaky, man. That's not the Cowboys being good. That's like the Eagles just being weird. You can't. That's like a meteor. You know what I mean? That thing comes and goes, and then it's back to normal. Cowboys are gonna shit their pants for sure.
So I don't know how I feel about the over/under there, but I do love the Falcons -3.5 at home.
I agree. I'm with you, buddy. What does
So,
a coin say?
so we're both on that. If you're new to the podcast, we got 3 pickers every week. Me, Poker Guy, and the coin. So the coin is actually just a coin. It's a coin that I flip. And at the end of the year, we're going to see who actually has the best sense when it comes to picking games. Coin, where are you at? So the coin's on the home team. So that's a triple certified Bitcoin sponsored. Put your money on the Falcons this week. Moving on to the next game, Steelers at the Jaguars. Steelers over/under is 46.5. Jaguars are 5.5-point home dogs. Jaguars 3-6, Steelers 6-2-1. Blake Baby Dick Bortles, 12 TDs, 8 picks. I think my dog just pissed on the floor upstairs. Hearing my wife screaming in the background for anybody that heard that. And talking about pissing your pants, that's Jaguars all year long so far. This is sketchy little line, 5.5. The Steelers riding high off Thursday night win. Conventional wisdom would say, hey, Steelers played on Thursday. They got a long week. They're on fire. Heading in the Jaguars, but lest we forget, Ben Roethlisberger, he's hit and miss on the road. My surprise pick of the week, I'm actually going with the Jaguars in this one. Maybe not to win it, but they're getting 5.5 at home, and I like the Jaguars on this.
I like the Steelers, so convince me otherwise. You're saying just Ben Roethlisberger is shaky at home, and that's all you can really say? Because if that's all you got, I'm going for the Steelers here.
Well, that's not all I got. There was a sale at Safeway this week. Doug Marrone, he hit up the lunch meat counter, 2 for 1. He is heavy on the bologna. And if he doesn't get his boys motivated, he's never going to get a chance to eat that. So it's, hey, get the lash from Da Vinci Code, start hitting himself, or enjoy those delicious lunch meats, dipping them in mayonnaise, not even just skipping the bread, shoving them down his throat. He's hungry. The Jags are hungry. I'm all over the Jags.
Well, deli meats are really that easy to get, and if it's boar's head, it's over. So I guess you've convinced me. I'm going with you there, buddy. I'm going with the Jags.
He's not even worried about salt content, which, by the way, everybody, do your research on that. Salt does not make your blood pressure high. All right? That's a fucking myth. I'm tired of hearing that. I eat salt like a motherfucker, and I had a physical recently. My blood pressure is like 110/70. So, yeah.
My blood pressure is like 120/80, and legit, all I eat is Cheetos and water, and that's like 90% salt, and I'm doing just fine. My eyes, don't focus as good as they used to, but my blood pressure's killer.
Yeah, so it was funny because once I was always a believer that was bullshit. And then once I got my most recent physical results, I was like, Turns out I was right. I've been pouring more salt on everything I've been eating. I'm like, bring the flavor to me, baby. It's bringing the flavor out of my food. Salt and pepper, it's bringing the flavor out. We're both on the Jaguars. Where are you at, Coin? Oh, that's Bitcoin certified. Three people on that one as well. All right, moving on to the next game. Bucks at the Giants, 3-6 Buccaneers, traveling into New Jersey to take on Eli Manning and the Giants. They're on a hot streak. They're on a winning streak. They won one game. Congratulations, Giants fans. Quit fucking pretending like this means that Eli Manning's not done. Over/under is 52. Giants are 1.5-point favorites at home. I don't believe. You're not going to make me believe just because you beat the Niners with whatever that dude's name is. I'm not even going to look his name up because it's not worth looking up. Whoever their quarterback is at this point in time. Some dude that they'd be better off getting the bark dog in there playing for them.
Isn't his name Robert Paulson or something?
His name is Robert Paulson. That's his name. All right.
Yeah. But going back to that, man, the Buccaneers, they've played hard teams all season long, and you got the Giants coming out of like the one win against the Niners. So I think the Bucs are going to take this one. This is going to be an easy game for the Bucs. The real problem and the real question is it going to be Jameis or is it going to be Ryan? Because that could be disastrous if it's Jameis.
I think it's still Fitzy, but I got to think that if the Buccaneers lose this one, that's the last game Dirk Cutter's going to coach.
Okay, so I think we can all agree, though, that both of these teams have the proverbial shovel, or the shovel.
Oh, yeah. They've both been handed the shovel. They're both dead. They're done. Their seasons are over. Doesn't matter what happens here either way. I mean, this is a time of year where if you're a fan of one of these teams, you become torn because you say to yourself, I kind of like to see my team win, but they're dog shit. So I would like to see them lose so that we can be trying for Zion sometime come April and get a little bit better draft pick.
Jones in for Jameis. We'll see how that went, that little experiment. So we'll see how this pans out. But I'm definitely taking the Bucks.
You got the Bucks. I'm going to take the Bucks here as well. I don't see a reason not to. Coin, he's a Giants fan. Coin's in the Giants. 2 versus 1, humans versus coins. We'll see. It's not necessarily Terminator stakes, but we'll see who wins that between the three of us. Another game, next game to talk about, Texans at the Redskins. Over-under is 42. Redskins are 3-point dogs at home. It's interesting. 2 6-3 teams, and they've got the Redskins as 3-point dogs. The Redskins have just enough defense, I think, to cause the Texans issues. I think they're going to feel that Will Fuller injury a little bit this week. But my favorite thing, one of my favorite players ever is DJ Swearinger. And he's been talking some mad shit on Bill O'Brien this week. Bill O'Brien's been evasively classy about the situation. But there's a lot of bad blood brewing between these two teams. And
what's he been saying? What's been going on?
Oh, it's just so Swearinger, I don't know who he got drafted by. I think he got drafted by the Texans. Yeah, he did. They had a coaching change. Bill O'Brien came in. Swearinger only lasted a year. And he said that when he went to the Bucks, when Swearinger went to the Bucks, that they called the Texans and Bill O'Brien talked a bunch of shit on him and he didn't get a fair chance in Tampa Bay. Now he's with the Redskins and he's looking for revenge.
It also could be a little drama too, as I know a couple years ago on Hard Knocks, the Texans and the Redskins got into a little scuffle, where they got summer practice. And so I think both of those teams just, for whatever reason, you always want to have a villain in your life. You want to have a Kaiser Soze in there. So I think these teams just don't like each other. So we'll see. They're both 6-3. Could be an exciting game.
Could be an exciting game. I don't know if you know the etymology of your name, Goodspeed. It's got Godspeed, to wish someone a prosperous journey. And that is not something that Adrian Peterson and the Redskins are wishing to Bill O'Brien, the Texans. I'm going to take the Redskins on this, and they're going to make it a stranglehold on their division if both the Cowboys and the Eagles lose this week.
Well, I agree with you, but I think part of it is the Redskins' defense. They've been saying how good the defense is all year long, and the Texans' offense has been shaky all year long. So barring some crazy, coin flip, I think the Redskins will be able to stop the shaky Texans offense. I'm taking the Redskins.
Speaking of coin flips, where you at on this thing, buddy? All right, that's 3. Where all 3 of us are on the Redskins. Good stuff. Moving on to possibly the most boring game of this week's NFL slate, which, by the way, a little side note, it's Apple picking Saturday. Get out there with your woman and spend some quality time so you can get some leeway for the rest of the year. Because there's nothing but dog shit going on this weekend's college football slate. Everybody in the SEC is playing FCS teams, playing fucking Idaho, Alabama. Your boys are playing Idaho. Alabama's playing the Citadel, and so on and so forth. It's bye week in the SEC. There's only 2 games against ranked teams. I'll tell you what, though, upset alert, Washington State hosting Arizona. That's an upset alert for everybody. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I'll just throw that out there. Hey, let me ask you a question. Everybody in the Florida area is clamoring about UCF. Should I care or not care about UCF? Because deep down inside, I don't care about UCF, but everybo's on the UCF dick train.
Oh, definitely continue not caring. That's the right move to make. Yeah, continue to not care about them. I know they got Blake Bortles as a famous alum. I think they got that one dude, too, that Shaq Griffin guy plays for, the guy with one hand that plays for Seahawks now.
Seahawks, yeah.
Yeah, I'm rooting for that guy.
Him and his brother both play for the Seahawks, right?
Yeah, his brother had a big fuck up the other day. I can't remember exactly what happened.
Dropped the ball, right?
Yeah, he did something stupid. I can't remember what it was. But I was like, hey, is that one? I was like, oh, it's his brother. Good.
No, that guy has 2 hands.
Yeah, he's. I mean, here's the thing. I don't get what the big deal is. He's only 2 digits less than Pierre Paul. All right, I mean, so it's like he can fucking play, dude. That guy's a baller.
I guess the difference is that guy had like a congenital issue, and then JVP just held on to an M80 and didn't let go. So the circumstances are a little different between the two. So I can see why there's a difference. But
Yeah, I mean, but that guy can play football. I'm rooting for him. I'm a big fan of his. You know,
you like
he's
the underdog. I'm with you. I'm
yeah.
with
Some
you.
people, yeah, he's at least two people I can think of that were born with deformities that are doing well in the NFL. You know, that Griffin guy and then Drew Brees. I mean, he's done pretty well for himself after
Mm-hmm.
scraping that caterpillar off his face. But anyhow, that thing ain't contagious. We're not worried about that.
We don't know that.
We don't. All right, we don't know that. We don't know that. But anyhow, Titans at the Colts. Titans 5-4 at the Colts 4-5. Over under is 49. Colts are 1.5 point favorites at home. Both these teams coming off a big win. Marcus Mariota versus Andrew Luck. Two quarterbacks we're still waiting to live up to the hype. Dion Lewis, he's riding high. He's got, why wouldn't he? He's got 300 and some yards rushing. Talking mad shit about how the Patriots are cheap. Listen, buddy, learn how the salary cap works, all right? Learn how it works before you keep opening your mouth.
Yeah, just keep your mouth shut. You might get re-signed. Just keep your mouth shut, smile, shake hands, and just be a professional. Don't go around running your mouth. If not, you'll just get cut. Next thing you know, you'll be, I don't know, Le'Veon Bell's like Sunday hangout buddy. Who knows? But talking about boring games, man, Titans Colts. Oof, I'm not interested. The only thing interesting about this is that Titans are 5-4, Colts are 4-5, and the AFC South race is still going. I don't know how this is still even a competition, but the Jaguars have fallen off, and now you got the Titans, Colts, and Texans, all a very, very tight race, which we predicted at the beginning of the season. So go us. Hooray.
Go us and everybody else. It's like everybody knew that. We're not like we were going out on a limb with that one. But still feels good to be right.
Where, no, why can't you just say yes, man? Come on, let me get just a little bit of yes. Why say no when yes feels so good,
Yeah. For some reason, I feel like that's not the first time you've tried to convince somebody of that particular statement. But, I'm not saying that you're...
My name isn't Jim, okay?
All right, I'm not saying that you're trying to get people into your fucking dark windowed Suburban, but I'm just saying it's a little bit creepy when you phrase things like that. We're all pink on the inside, people. I'm not picking on Jim here. So Colts 4-5. I think they make it to 5-5 this week. I'm gonna put my money on the Colts.
This is a tough one for me. The Colts at home. I don't know if there's really a home field advantage because Andrew Luck still doesn't seem to care. But the Titans, this is a close one, man. This for me, this is kind of a pick 'em. I don't want to bet on this. I'll do whatever the coin does.
Let's see where he's at. Colts is on the Titans, so you two are against me. That's okay. It's a fight I can fight. I'll tell you what, though, there's no spread out for this next game. Bengals at the Ravens, because we don't know who's going to be quarterbacking for the Ravens.
So Joe Flacco's officially out. Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know if he's officially out. I know he hasn't practiced yet this week. And I don't think Jackson has practiced either. So we may have one of our all-time favorites, one Mr. Robert Griffin, not the first, not the second, but the third. But the third, trading in that lifeguard hat and Microsoft Surface Pro for a football helmet and a football this week. And that's got me excited.
I'm excited for RG Triple. I'm excited. But more so, I'm excited to see what kind of hair he comes out with. Is it going to be miniature cornrows? Is it going to be mini fro? Is he going to go for the full Hasselbeck shaved head? I'm excited to see. But so don't spoil this for me. I haven't seen him, but I'm excited to see what he looks like on the sidelines.
Yeah, I got to admit, I haven't seen any live action shots of Robert Griffin at all this year either. So I don't know. Maybe, man, it could be anything. It could be anything.
We might
really
see him with a mohawk even.
That would be good. I would like that. That'd be a new thing. It'd be liberating. But it'd be good if he came out and, really lit the Bengals on fire. I mean, they're fucking reeling. The Saints put up 51 on them last week. They could have put up 80 if they wanted to. And I don't know. Oh, have you seen this? Have you heard about this? The Bengals, they've got some extra brain power on their coaching staff.
I've heard about this. Their offense should be much better.
Yeah, they should have some juice in that building. New special assistant to Coach Marvin Lewis, one Hugh Jackson. Now, here's my prediction. I think that Hugh Jackson is going to be one of the first guys to get fired from coaching on an NFL team twice in 1 year. I think he could get fired again at the end of the year. Like, there's a very reasonable chance that happens. I don't know if Marvin Lewis is ever going to get fired. I mean, I don't know whose dick he's seen in the building, but he's got to have videotapes of somebody doing something.
This is some Game of Thrones level shit. You know what he's doing here? We have Marvin Lewis, who is essentially the Cersei analog here, and what she's doing. She's padding herself or surrounding herself by people that she can later burn in a church. So this is a great move by Marvin Lewis. This is just gonna, continuous foothold as the head queen in charge. It's gonna be great. Speaking of, Game of Thrones is coming out, by the way, guys. Official release date end of April. So set your DVRs, get ready. It's on. It's official.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Game of Thrones, April. That's a great time for that too. I mean, I wish it came out in like June, because then it would get June and July. Those are desperate times for people like me when all we've got is Major League Baseball to fill the schedule. Once the NBA finals are over, there's two moments of poignant sadness in the sports year. One is when the Super Bowl gets played, and then the other one is at the end of the NBA Finals. Those are desperate times for people like you and I. But
it's you have the NBA Finals, and then there's like a week or two after where you're okay. Where you're like, oh yeah, remember that one time LeBron dunked on that guy? Oh yeah, that was cool. But after that, it's over. There's only so many episodes of Westworld I can watch.
I mean, I have not watched a baseball game. I did not watch any of this World Series. I had no interest in that. I watched a little bit of the games. But goddamn, baseball is so fucking boring. I just cannot.
Do you watch
get into that.
Soccer?
No,
do you watch any?
Don't watch
Cup?
soccer. I'm American. We don't watch soccer.
I watch soccer.
Don't stereotype me just because I live in the Portland, Oregon area. Like I don't wear flannel. I don't drive a Subaru. And I don't watch soccer.
Do you have a bicycle? Do you have a bicycle with no gears?
I do not own a bicycle. I'm glad you asked me that, because one of my central tenets in life is that you should never, ever trust a man or woman, or children are exempt, but you should never trust a man that rides a bike for pleasure. Like
that's fucking stupid. I want to hear this. What do you mean? What about a mountain bike? What if I got a mountain bike?
I don't trust you, man. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you riding a bike? Like,
I'm on my bicycle.
Particularly if you're one of these assholes who's going to put on your little spandex and cruise up and down the highway like you're a car. And here's the thing. I fucking hate people that ride bikes in general, right? If you're out there, I'm about to offend you, I don't care. Because here's the thing I hate about bike riders is they're fucking greedy. They are such greedy people. They want all the rights and privileges simultaneously of an automobile and of a pedestrian.
The problem with being on the road in a bicycle is you can't make a mistake more than once. You know what I mean? Like, you fall down and you get your head crushed by a tire. It's that's a mistake that you make only one time. You can't do that again. So I don't understand when I'm driving, I see these cyclists on the road. They always get real close. And I understand where you're coming from, and it is sketchy. But come on, man. What about like a mountain bike?
No, I mean, one of the things I'm going to do once I get a vast amount of disposable income, I'm going to install what I call a duster in whatever my automobile I'm driving at the time is. Now, when I was in the Marine Corps, I used to shoot the SMA, and it is a rocket launcher that I believe is about 190 or 195 decibels when it goes off. But you don't want to be near that thing with that earplugs in, or you're going to be feeling it for like a week. And what I want to do is I want to get an aftermarket car horn that's at least 185 decibels, so that when I'm driving by bike riders and they do their stupid bike rider shit, I can honk that thing and really let them feel me on the road. All right,
that's absurd.
If they fall, they fall. I have no sympathy for these people. They're greedy. They're so greedy, and I can't stand them.
What if the world changed to where we all had bicycles?
That would be terrible. Why that would be such a step backwards? That world exists. It's called 1895, right?
No, but I'm saying, like, in Sweden and where some of our listeners live, okay, in
Yeah.
Finland and Denmark, a lot of these places they're very, they're very progressive. They have roads where it's bike only, and people can bike to and from the supermarket or to and from their school. I think it's good to have people use some energy throughout the day and not just sit in their car and drive here and there. I think it's not a bad thing.
I don't know. It's not for me. It's not for me. I don't. Plus, I'll say the other thing too. You sit on a bike for too long, your dick's never getting hard again, right?
Fact.
That little
Fact.
bike seat pressing up against your taint for fucking 4 hours a day, like that does not help the blood flow to your cock. Like I think there are studies on that. Bunch of soft dick lunatics
It's
driving
true.
around on their bikes, being assholes. No wonder they're such assholes. They can't keep their dicks hard anymore.
Speaking of assholes, I tore my ACL a couple years ago, and one of the things that I had to do was sit on a bicycle, I think it's an elliptical is the word when it's a bicycle in a gym and it's stationary, and that's what I had to do. I had to go on an elliptical or whatever it's called,
They're called
stationary bike.
stationary bike. Yeah, elliptical is
Stationary
that thing
bike,
that
yeah.
all the sorority girls are on while they're Instagramming.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the chubby chicks. No, but anyways, I'm on the on this bicycle and I'm going. I remember some guy sat down, and I'm going as hard as I can. Right, for me, I was trying to hit 10 miles. For me, that was a lot. And I remember I was going, I was sweating, and then some guy sits down next to me, and the whole time he's looking at what I'm doing. And so I'm at like 6 miles an hour. I don't remember. Maybe I'm like 8 miles an hour. And I'm going, I'm going, I'm going, I'm going. This dude, I can see that he sees that I'm at 8 miles an hour. He's putting it at like 8.02. And then he's next to me like, and then I'm seeing that he's doing this. And I'm like, what a fucking asshole. And so he's going. And me, my response is what? What did I do in response?
Yeah, we go 9 miles an hour, I bet.
Yeah, fuck him. I'll go 8.5. And then it was almost like a game of chicken, and we ended up doing that until I just kind of got tired and I had to stop. So I became submissive to his bicycle, but it was really an odd experience, and this is a true story, and it happened to me, and I always thought, God damn it, what a fucking jerk. But that's
Those
why
are
I
the
don't
types
use the
of guys that
stationary
are
bikes
out there on the
anymore.
road riding their bikes around, right? I mean, that's just a small sample of those types of people.
I mean, I would disagree, but yeah, I guess if you're going to the gym and trying to battle strangers on a stationary bike where we're going literally the exact same location because we're not moving, if that's how you get off, then fine, that's how you get off. Go get yourself a fucking dog, go get a girlfriend, just get a hobby, sort your fucking life out. If that's what you do for fun, you are a fucking loser.
Hey, now you're just come to the dark side, brother. Now I feel you
I'm not
coming
coming
my
to the
way.
dark side.
Just,
I'm not coming to the dark side. But speaking of unsettling things, there's nothing more unsettling than a man with a cat. You know what I mean? Just like one cat. Like, oh, how was your weekend? Oh yeah, me and Mittens, we were chilling, man. It was great. Mittens, she comes up to me and she rubs me and purrs, and yeah, it was great. Okay, cool. What are you doing this? What else are you doing this weekend? Oh, I did laundry. Oh, okay, cool. Get away from me. And you just go the other way.
so we got the Bengals here, the big cats
Speaking of cats.
at the Ravens. Like I said, no spread out for this game yet. But if we're gonna pick it straight up, and I'm saying RG3 is playing QB, I'm gonna ride the wave, buddy. I'm gonna go with the Ravens.
I mean, if RG3 is back, I want him to win. I mean, they haven't even picked the line yet. That's how crazy this is. There's not even a line out right now. So I guess I'll just go with RG3 this week.
RG3. All right, the coin. He's always been a Hugh Jackson fan. He's staying with Huey. He's going with the Bengals. They're just leaving that straight up right now. We'll see where the spread comes on that thing. Moving on to the next game, another set of big cats. Panthers at the Lions. Two sets of big cats. Oh, holy shit. I never thought about how many big cats there were as mascots in the NFL until this moment right here. 49.5 is the over-under. Lions are 4.5-point dogs at home. And the Panthers got taken to the woodshed last week by the Steelers. They've had a couple extra days to rest and recoup. The Matt Patricia era is off to a continued rough start. People up there seem to hate him. The only thing that, the only direction the hate seems to be more is Matt Patricia to all the people up there. And I think that continues to build. And it's going to be a nasty Thanksgiving crowd when the 3-7 Lions play host to whoever they're going to host next week. I'm all over the Panthers this week, only given 4.5.
I agree. I'm with you there, buddy. You got to go for the Panthers. But again, we really didn't have high expectations for Matt Patricia. I mean, John Gruden has 1 win. So if the Lions have 3 wins, that's a noticeable improvement from, when you're comparing to John Gruden and pretend money and monopoly money. So I'm going to go with you, buddy. I'm going to go with the Panthers.
You're going with the Panthers as well. All right, Coin, where you at? Hey, Coin's with us. That's Bitcoin certified. Put your money on the Panthers this weekend. Heading in the afternoon slate. Another really bad afternoon slate. I mean, this is bad. This is worse than last week. Broncos at the Chargers. Over-unders 46.5. Chargers 7-point favorites at home. 3-6 Broncos. 7-2 Chargers. Phillip Rivers having a hell of a year. 21 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Case Keenum, not the same thing. 10 picks for 11 TDs. And it turns out those of us that were Case Keenum haters at the beginning of the year have been justified all along. That was a terrible signing. They shouldn't have paid him that money. I mean, I would have said we should have gone with Chad Kelly, but that obviously wasn't the way to go, considering he's breaking into people's houses in the middle of the night all wasted, trying to feed their baby or something. God, what a fucking
fucked up story. That's a fucked up story.
What a loser that guy is. Get your life together, Chad, and get your shit together, Broncos, because I got a feeling they got a whooping coming to them when they end up in LA. All 15 of those Chargers fans are going to be having a great afternoon. Chargers, they're going to take this one big. They're going to cover the 7 points.
That StubHub stadium is going to go absolutely crazy. Who is the guy that was with Jamarcus Russell? Who was not Jamarcus Russell? Peyton Manning.
What do you mean?
The number one pick.
Oh, Ryan Leaf.
Manning, number 2.
Yeah, Ryan Leaf.
Ryan Leaf, if you're listening to the pod, reach out to Chad Kelly. He needs some help. He is a man who needs guidance, and you are a man who has wisdom. Reach out to your fallen brother.
Ryan Leaf has actually turned his life around. That's what I'm saying. It's a feel-good story. I think he's a college football analyst for one of the lesser-known networks. But, yeah, I'm rooting for him. I hope he has continued sobriety and excellence in his life. I'm always rooting for people to get out of that spiral. Except for the Broncos, I hope they continue their downward spiral because John Elway's a grade A, tier 1 asshole, and he deserves all the anguish that comes to him.
I love it. I'm with you there, buddy. I'm taking the Chargers.
We're both on the Chargers. Coin's an Elway fan. He remembers the drive back in 1980, whatever, versus the Browns. He remembers the helicopter spin in the end zone. He's not going to forget. He doesn't care how many people John Elway tries to get fired from their jobs. He is going to keep riding with the Broncos. Now, we talked about possibly the worst game of the week. Well, if we labeled that the worst game of the week, we were horribly mistaken. Raiders at the Cardinals. Sean Hansen alert. Get this off my TV. Over-unders 40.5. Cardinals are 5.5-point favorites at home. That is low times for the Raiders being 5.5-point dogs at the Cardinals. We got to ask ourselves a question. We got Derek Unicycle having a bad year. Do we think maybe it's time to pick up the phone and call one of the former Raiders greats for a little bit of help?
Which former Raiders greats are you referring to?
Oh, we're talking about people like Ryan Leaf. He didn't get a fair shake, but what about my man Jamarcus Russell? All right, I mean, maybe he's got a little bit of gas left in the tank. I guarantee you, I mean, he's got a lot of energy in his body, I would assume at this point. I don't know how big that dude is. I would love to see a picture of Jamarcus Russell right now or see like a Jamarcus Russell comeback story kind of start to unfold.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really see that happening. You know, if you're eating at Bob Evans every week, you probably don't have the hustle that you used to have. I mean, he could probably play maybe about a good 10 minutes of football, but you're gonna need some oxygen tanks after that, dude. He can't handle that, man. He might have a goddamn heart attack on the sidelines. But as far as entertainment value goes, yeah, bring him back. I'd love to see that.
Bring him back. You know, Jamarcus Russell's gets the same treatment at Hometown Buffet that James Harden gets at the Spearmint Rhino. Like, he is a VIP. And one of the funny stories that came out a few weeks ago about Jamarcus Russell is the Raiders coaches were not convinced that he was, working hard outside the facility to perfect his craft. I don't know what red flags he raised, other than all of them that may have led them to believe that. But what they did was they gave him a blank set of VHS tapes, and they said, "Hey, Jamarcus, man, go over these things and see, let me know what you think about these blitz packages and how we're gonna deal with this." And they
Oh
gave him a
God.
bunch of blank video cassettes, and he came back the next day and he's like, "Yeah, I tell you what, man, that stuff really made me think. I looked through it, and that's good shit right there." So they laid a trap for him, a Departed style trap of where the cop's gonna show up, and he's the snitch, but he snitched on himself.
That's awesome.
So I mean,
Departed.
that's how lazy Jamarcus was, but that's how desperate things are in Oakland right now. You may even want to consider that. I don't want to believe in the Raiders, but for whatever reason, I think they can cover this 5.5. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my money. I'm not putting any money on this. Let's be real. But my theoretical money, I'm gonna put that on the Raiders to cover.
I like these games because they're so unpredictable. Like Vegas can't really put out a real line. Like, are the Cardinals really better than the Raiders? Like, really? Or are the Raiders really better than the Cardinals? We don't know that. These are both two teams that are very, I don't know, shitty. So there could just be a lot of defensive turnovers, a lot of defensive touchdowns. This can get out of hand. This can get crazy. If you're a betting man, I would just bet on the Raiders on this one.
So we're both on the Raiders. Coin, he's with us. All three of us on the Raiders. Let's move on. Let's get out of there.
Yeah, can we stop talking about that, please?
Yeah, let's go on. Let's go. Get going. Eagles at the Saints. That's the feature game of the afternoon. Eagles 4-5 after that embarrassing home loss to the Cowboys. Were they at the Cowboys? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Eagles
They're 5-4.
No,
Cowboys are 5-4.
No, Cowboys are 4-5 as well. So.
Oh, okay.
But the Saints, they're 8-1. They're going to be 9-1 when this thing's all said and done. The over/under is 56. They're 8.5-point favorites at home. That's a lot of points to get or to be given away against the defending Super Bowl champs. But these are not the defending Super Bowl champs. All right. And is it Foles time? Is it Foles time? I don't know.
It actually might be Foles time. It might be Foles time, yeah.
I mean, Drew Brees, he's won a Super Bowl. Nick Foles has won a Super Bowl. There's one quarterback involved here that hasn't, and that's Carson Wentz. So I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know if he's a difference maker for the Eagles, but it's a question you got to ask yourself. And, the Saints defense is not top tier, but the Eagles offense has been terrible. And I got to say that, man, 8.5, ooh, that's an uncomfortable number, but they're going to be going crazy in that dome, and I'm going to take the Saints with the points.
I'm going to have to go with you. I think the Saints, like you said, 9-1. All I can really say is who dat. I'm going with the Saints.
Who dat? Go Saints. Coins with us.
Go to surgery dermatologist guy to go fix your face. Go Saints.
Go Saints. Go Saints. A Sunday night game.
Go Saints.
We got a couple good ones at the end of the weekend. Sunday night, Vikings at the Bears. I love this game. This is going to be a great game. Over-under is 44.5. Bears are 2.5-point favorites at home. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy.
Are they playing at Soldier Field? Are they playing outside?
Yeah, they're playing at the Bears. So, Kirk Cousins, let's see what you got in the blustery, wintry Chicago evening. Let's see, Mitch Trubisky. I've never been a believer. I'll tell you what, Matt Nagy's a hell of a fucking coach because he's making that guy look like he can actually play football.
Yeah, Trubisky, the great running back. I think he's going to have a good showing on Sunday for sure. I'm definitely going to take the Bears in this game.
You got the Bears. Vikings defense hasn't been this year what it was last year. Now, I don't know, man. I mean, I just got a feeling that this is the time for the Vikings to show up. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the Vikings to go ahead and win the, not just cover the 2.5, but to go ahead and win this thing outright. Let's see where the Coin's at. Coin's a Bears fan, not Bears. And he's going to go ahead and roll with you. And we're going to roll right into the Monday night game, the best game of the week. 9-1 Chiefs. Pat, I used to buy weed from that guy, Mahomes. Heading into LA, we're going to play this thing in Mexico City. but they had a slight problem with the field in the sense of they're having monster truck rallies and rock concerts on it, and it's not fit to play a middle school game on. So the NFL went ahead and moved this thing to LA. Like we said, there's going to be quite a few, at least 25 or 30 fired up Rams fans at this game. And they're 3.5-point favorites at home over the Chiefs. Over under 63. That might be the biggest over under of the year so far. But man, I'm going to be all over that. I'm going to be all over that over. This has got all the looks of one of those, exactly like the game that the Chiefs played against the Patriots. This is going to be 35-42. It's going to be a high scoring affair.
See, I don't think that. I really don't. I don't think the Rams offense is competent enough to put up those kind of numbers. But again, what the fuck do I know? But what's crazy, going back to tickets and how there's going to be 8 Rams fans there, the Rams fans have donated about 3,500 tickets. They've donated 3,500 tickets because of like all the fires, and they've given them out to first responders. And a lot of the commentary is, yeah, they've given them away because nobody's fucking buying them. So they're just using this as a marketing opportunity to say, oh, look, we care about first responders. But in reality, the only people that are buying it are fucking scalpers. You know what I mean? So they're just now at this point giving the tickets away.
Well, I mean, there's a couple things with that. Here's the thing. I do believe that these fire people and everybody that's doing that hard work to keep the state of California from burning to the ground, they need to be rewarded. But do we want to take 3,500 first responders out of the fight right now? Like, shouldn't we leave them out there and like let them continue to do their job? And then, hey, if later on in the year, if the Rams have a playoff game, let's give them the tickets at that point in time. Right? I don't think we want to take
That's a really good
3,500 firefighters out of the fight. When, like, if you've seen these videos where, like, the fires are literally engulfing people's houses, they're destroying property left and right. It's like, dude, if you're sitting there and you see this, like, firefighter, he's like, I don't know exactly the details of their job. They're brave people. Thank you for doing what you do. But if it's like 4:30 on Monday and some guy's like fighting a fire to keep your house from burning to the ground, and then he turns off his hose and he's like, hey, sorry, Mr. Smith, but I got tickets to this Chiefs game, so I'm just going to go ahead and let this shit burn to the ground. It's like, yes, reward them,
you got this.
But not this Monday. Like, don't do it this Monday. Like, wait till the fires are out and then give them 2 tickets, give them 10 tickets. Like, let them bring their families. Like, let them have a great time. But, like, let's probably, like, get the fires put out first.
Give him some Clippers tickets. I'm sure there's plenty of Clippers tickets to give out. Give him some of those in like January when it's a little chillier. But I agree, that's hilarious. I didn't even think of that, man. It's fucking hilarious.
It's not that it's the wrong thing to do. It's the right thing to do. It's just the wrong time to do it. So
let's give him money. Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys moved to LA. You guys should have plenty of money now. Give them money.
Give the tickets to the fucking scalpers and start a GoFundMe for these people, and then give them all that money to put in their pension fund or to fucking help them out. But like, don't take that's a lot of people, man. Like, that's just too many. That's too many
3,500. 3,500.
Yeah, 3,500 people. Jesus Christ. Like, what is there even that many firefighters out there? Like, they're just going to let this whole thing burn to the ground.
You're going to pretty much cause the downfall of California. Thanks a lot, Los Angeles Rams. But maybe this is what it is Patrick Mahomes is going to be lighting up that secondary, so they need those firefighters to put down that fire.
That's putting Marcus Peters out after Tyreek Hill burns his ass for the 5th time. But we'll see.
Tyreek Hill's going to have a killer game.
Yeah, we'll see how that game goes. If I'm betting on this thing, man, this could be a Super Bowl preview as well. And I just love the Chiefs, man. It's a regular. Guess what? It's still a regular season, and we got Andy Reid, we got Patty Mahomes. I'm going to take the Chiefs because they're getting 3.5 points. I'll take the Chiefs all day.
I'll take the Chiefs with you. Again, I just don't think the Rams. I think Jared Goff is good. I think Todd Gurley's the shit. But I just don't know if they're going to be able to beat the Chiefs.
Plus, Cooper Kupp tore his ACL as well, so they're down a weapon.
Yeah, so he's not even in, exactly. So we'll see. but I'm thinking the Chiefs will take it. And plus, it is the regular season, like you said. So, regular season, Andy, killer. We'll wait to playoffs.
We'll see. We'll see what the total is on that. I might do a little parlay, the Chiefs and the over. That sounded pretty tasty to me. Where's the coin at here? Coin's on the Rams. So the coin is, is going to go ahead and support the first responders. We are the Grinch, and we'll see how that stacks up. Poker Guy, closing thoughts before we get out there to enjoy week number 11 in the NFL?
No, there's just one final thing. You may end up cutting this from the pod, but I just read this thing about the Sports Illustrated. You know how they have like the bikini, or not Sports Illustrated, Victoria's Secret. They're saying that, it's a Victoria's Secret fashion show, and there's a lot of chicks on that runway. They're saying they're going to put in a transgender woman on there. And
here comes your transphobia, bro. Here comes your transphobia.
It's not my transphobia. Again. I just seen it, and I'm like, I think Bobby's going to have a really good opinion on this. I want to hear his take.
I don't know. I mean, as long as that transgendered person is not a murderer like Caitlyn Jenner, let us never forget that Caitlyn Jenner, buckle up, buckaroos. Yeah, she went ahead and she's got a body count, man. Like her KD is also unlimited at this point. Caitlyn Jenner's got an infinite KD as well because she is responsible for the death of another human being.
It's at least one, her KD. It's likely 2 or 3. Let's be honest.
That's just what we know about. All right, Aaron Hernandez KD is like, I guess it's 4-1. So you got to give him credit on both ends for that. But his KD is pretty high, and then hers is unlimited. So I don't really care. I don't care about that. That's fine. Whatever.
You don't care if it's a penis. You don't care if it's tucked in, like scared turtle style. You don't care if it's inverted. You just want them to not be a murderer. Yeah,
just don't be a murderer. I'm not setting the bar real high for whoever that's going to be. Hey, you, whatever gender you are, that's fine. Man, woman, transgendered, foxykin. Which, by the way, my wife is going through this. There's this freaking catalog called American Doll. And apparently that's a pretty xenophobic sort of publication because that's a cisgendered, it's like almost 100% cisgendered catalog. And they didn't give it the times. The other thing that was weird about that thing is they do all these period specific like dolls.
Let me interrupt you. What is American Doll? What is that?
It's a fucking doll catalog, right? So my wife is a woman who listens to or like watches British programming, so we get weird old lady mail like in our fucking mailbox. Like she's 36 going on 96 when it comes to the shit that she just likes in the world. Like when she's old, she's gonna settle into like all the same shit. Like nothing's gonna change, and she's gonna be watching all the same stuff.
Maybe she's just going through a Benjamin Button thing. Like, she's just catching her on the way down,
Yeah, she's 85. She's going to be bumping Tupac and just like blaring music. We'll see. I'm interested to see if that's the case.
Taking some MDMA and just hanging out with the glow stick crew, doing some glow sticks and shit.
They got this doll in there. 2 dolls they have. They have like a 1960s African-American female doll. And then they have a 1941 Hawaiian girl. It's like they're literally like picking out the worst time for people of that gender and culture to be alive and then making dolls of them. Like, I don't fucking understand that. That's a very strange way to go about making dolls.
I guess it's like the people that are designing them were born in like the 20s. So for them, that's like when they think of like an African-American woman, they're not thinking progressive. They're not thinking Michelle Obama. They're not thinking Cardi B and other geniuses. They're thinking more so, like you said, chicks from the 60s. Think about Hawaiian girls, probably the same exact thing. All they know is from what they saw on the Johnny Carson show back in the day.
Like that's just
so their education's limited.
Like what do they have? The August 1945 Japanese girl, like the Polish girl, the Polish Jew from like the early, Jewish like the late 30s. Or, I mean, this is fucking weird, man. Like, I don't get that at all. I'll tell you the other thing, too, that they don't have in there They got no Foxykins. They got no, like anything that's outside the ordinary. So it's a bigoted catalog in my mind. It's funny because I asked my wife, I was like, she's been listening to the podcast and she hears Foxy Kid, and she has not understood what that's been the entire time. She thought that I was talking about furries, right? So furries are obviously people that they dress up in giant costumes and then fuck each other. Like someone dresses up like like they're the mascot for the Bulls, and then they fuck somebody else in a giant furry costume.
That's a wild culture.
Yeah, those are. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean,
nothing against it. Nothing against it. I don't know anything about it, but just the idea of just whipping your dick out and then sticking it in just some random hole. Oh, I like that fox. I like that she's green and she's got rainbow hair.
I mean, you could be fucking another dude inside that costume and not know it. Let's be real about that.
Totally.
Like,
totally.
Yeah, I mean, that's just depending where they're cutting that hole. I mean, you can end up somewhere you don't want to be ending up. But
totally.
So she thought I was talking about furries the whole time, and I was like, no, Foxykins are people that are like the dad from Step Brothers, where he's talking about how he used to walk around his backyard acting like a dinosaur. He's just like, quit acting like a fucking dinosaur, right? But they're people that think that they're foxes and will like walk around pretending to be foxes. So we got to respect those people as well. We want to be inclusive.
The weird one is when people are in love. Like, you ever seen the show My Strange Addiction? It's like there's people that are like in love with inanimate objects. Like there's a guy a long time ago, I'm sure you've seen it. This guy is like fucking his like Dodge Neon, and he's like, no, I love my Dodge Neon. It's like I love it. And I guess like his family members see him and they love their son, so they love their nephew, so they put up with it. But when they interview them, they're like, yeah, this guy loves this fucking Dodge Neon, and it pans to him and he's like licking the bumper and the muffler. I don't know, man. People are weird. We live in a strange world, strange times.
He probably custom ordered that tailpipe so he could fit a fleshlight inside of it. That's what I'd do if I was into fucking my car. Like I would do that. I would at least custom order a tailpipe that fit some sort of fleshlight inside of it. Because then you could just really get down on that thing and just really make love to that sweet, sweet Dodge Neon.
That's a fucking great idea. If I ever get attracted to my Honda Civic, I'm gonna buy an appropriately sized fleshlight and I'm gonna fuck it.
I've owned a fleshlight before. It's fun while you're using it. The cleanup, it's a bit of a bear. It's a bit of a bear. You got to stay on top of that.
It's the first couple times it's cool, but then by like the fifth time when it's like hanging in your shower and you're like, oh, God, that thing's still in there. You know, you got to take it out. It's like drying and stuff. It's kind of humid. You know?
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of an allegory to all relationships, you know? They start off, it's all nice and clean and fresh, and then by the fifth and sixth time, it's like sticky and...
Take care of that thing. You gotta take care of that. Now we're getting off the rails here. We're going nowhere good with this. Everybody, you enjoy Week 11 of the NFL, and we'll see you back here on Sunday night to recap all that action.
Peace.